Hey guys, in this video we are going to see how to install the WordPress on the Ubuntu server. We will see how we can host our websites on Ubuntu server. If you have any questions about this topic during the video or after the video, feel free to write it in the comments section and I will definitely read it out and respond to your query. So first of all, we are going to install Nginx on our Ubuntu server. So we run sudo apt update and update all the packages on the Ubuntu server. And let's wait until all the updates are done. And then we can run the command sudo apt install nginx. So this will install nginx server on the Ubuntu. And nginx is a server where we are going to host our WordPress website. We'll see in a second how this is done. Let the Nginx installation be complete on the server. So now let's clear the screen and we can go to the browser and enter the IP address of the Ubuntu server to check if the Nginx has been installed correctly on the Ubuntu server. So once we enter the IP address, we should be able to see some details on the browser like welcome to Nginx as you can see on the screen. So now we know that Nginx is successfully installed and we are going to install PHP 7.4. So we need to install two packages, FPM and PHP 7.4 MySQL. So we need these packages to host our WordPress website on Nginx server. So let the PHP installation be complete and we can wait for a while. So now our PHP has been installed. Let's clear the screen. We can check the version of the PHP we have installed, which is 7.4.3. So now we can clear the screen. We can go to the root folder of Nginx, and that's where we are going to host our WordPress website. So the root folder usually is where www.html. So we can see in this folder we have one HTML file which is Nginx default HTML file, and whatever the contents of this HTML file are visible to us on the browser. So the main idea is whatever we put into this root folder of Nginx, it is usually displayed on the browser when we go to that particular IP address. So now what we will do is we will replace this Nginx file with our PHP files. So when I say PHP files, I mean we will replace it with the WordPress files. So let's remove this default HTML file from the root folder of Nginx. So we can remove it easily with the rm command. So now if we see the directory is empty, now we are going to use a command to download all our WordPress files from the WordPress server by using a command wget. I would like to say that I'll leave all these commands in the description, so no need to worry about where you are going to get these commands. So now the WordPress is installed. Let's see, we have a folder which is a zipped folder inside the root folder of HTML after running this command. Now we need to unzip this folder with one more command that we are going to write just now. So hopefully we have unzipped the folder, and inside the folder there is another folder called WordPress. So inside the WordPress folder we see that there are a couple of WordPress files that have been downloaded into the root folder. So now we need to do some Nginx configuration to expose this WordPress files over to the IP address in the browser. So we go to a folder etc Nginx and we go to a file called sites enabled, and then we open this. We can copy this default file and rename it into WordPress. And now we can delete the default file. We will use the WordPress file to do all the configuration. So I'll remove the default file. Let's open the WordPress file in the V editor. So we need to make a couple of changes here for the WordPress to run on the Nginx server. So first change that we are going to do is we need to change the root folder. Root folder should be the folder where all the WordPress files have been installed. So as you remember, we installed it in the inside the WordPress folder. So we say var www html/WordPress, and we need to add index.php here so that Nginx can detect the PHP file inside the WordPress folder. So the next change that we are going to do is in the location tag. Inside the location, we need to say that try to find the file index.php. So we replace it with index.php arguments, which is args. So this is another change that we are going to do in the configuration file. And there are a couple of more changes that we need to do because we are running a PHP on the Nginx server. So we need to uncomment some of the lines which are already there in the configuration. So we need to uncomment this location tag, which is important to run PHP on the Ubuntu server, mainly Nginx server. So we have uncommented few lines here, and that's all. That's all we need to change in the configuration. So we have made all the required changes in the configuration file. We have saved the configuration file and we got out. Now we need to check whether our Nginx configuration has any kind of errors with the Nginx D command. And because it is successful, we can restart Nginx with sudo systemctl restart Nginx. So now we can go back to the browser and see if our WordPress is running on the browser as we expected. After completing all the configuration, we should be able to see something related to WordPress on the browser. So all we have to do is we have to go to the IP address of the server and refresh the page, and we see all these details. But we have still not connected the database to the WordPress. So as we can see, it says that we need to enter all these details on the WordPress. So we can click on Let's Go button. We can enter all the details here, where we can see we need to enter the database name, and then we need to enter the username of the server where our database is being hosted. So I've renamed the database name as website 11, and then we need to enter our username and the password of server where we are hosting our database. So I'm hosting my database on the Microsoft Azure. So I know my username and password, I've entered it, but I need to go to Azure to find out the host name, that is a server name where database is hosted. So I can copy it from here, and I can enter the database name and I can submit. Now it says that for some reason it has failed to create wp config file. and it is giving us instructions that we should manually create config file onto the WordPress. Sometimes this file is automatically created when we fill all these details, but sometimes WordPress fails to create this file and we need to do it manually. And it has given all the instructions what we need to do. It has created the file for us. We just need to go back to the server and add this configuration into the wp-config.php file. So I will go to my root directory where I have the WordPress files, where www.html WordPress. So inside this, I want to create another file called wp-config.php. And inside this file, I'm not going to write any configuration. I'll just copy the configuration that WordPress has generated. So I'll copy all these details into the wp config file and then save it there. So let's wait until I finish this. So now I have finished saving the configuration file. Now we can go back to the browser and refresh the browser and let's see what happens. I need to remove all the extra details. Just go to the IP address. Now we can see that our database is successfully connected to the WordPress, and WordPress is running perfectly on the Ubuntu server, and we can fill all these details and install WordPress and get started by building our first WordPress website. Thank you so much for watching.